Okay. Why is there? Oh, no. Oh. Okay. All right. Welcome everybody to Raising Strong-Willed Kids Summit. My name's Andrea Milioti and I'm the host. And today's guest is Aaron Huey. And Aaron is the founder of Parenting Teens That Struggle and the host of the #1 parenting podcast, Beyond Risk and Back, which is Mental Health News Radio Network's highest rated show internationally. He is also a parent coach for parents of kids at risk, a teen addiction interventionist, and a very happy husband and father of 2 young adults. It's the best part. Aaron is an internationally known lecturer on architectural imagery, body language, and marital arts, and the founder and president of Fire Mountain Programs since 2004. Has run kids camps, teen camps, and family programming. In 2009, he and his wife, Christine, opened a residential mental health and dependency recovery treatment center for teens ages 12 to 17 in Colorado. Fire Mountain Residential Treatment Center was recently named one of the top 50 healthcare providers in the United States, and this year named one of the top 100 innovators in healthcare. He facilitates powerful parenting events. Awesome. Welcome, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea.
So tell me, what got you into all this? Just to start off a little bit?
Yeah, well, I was one of those kids. I grew up adopted by my dad. I have a father I've never met. He died when I was 40, still haven't been able to reconcile anything by the time he had died. I was bullied mercilessly as a kid, and I grew up in the days where bullying was not intervened upon. I was sexually assaulted as a young adult by my best friend, and really dove headlong into addiction, and spent 14 years using anything I could get my hands on within reason. Again, we're talking about the reason of an addict. I never used cocaine, I never used heroin, but I used every other strategy to avoid pain and avoid discomfort of dealing with life on life's terms, and got sober when I was 28 years old. And that's where life truly began for me. Life with pain, life with suffering, life with discomfort, but nonetheless, a life of success that I truly enjoy now. And my job, turning that wound into the way, the pain into the path, the tears into the trail, the wreckage into the resume, these things that I experienced as a kid and an adult, a young adult, has truly become the thing that allows me to help families and teenagers who are struggling with the same type of things find success, find freedom, find responsibility, and really express their authenticity without the use of substances, cutting, suicidality, video games, pornography. So I do run a treatment center, and I do parent coaching, and I lead parenting events, and I run a podcast, because now my goal is to help families keep their kids out of treatment. Despite running one of the best treatment programs in the United States, treatment is expensive, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And so I feel ethically it's responsible for me to give parents not only that pound of cure, but also the ounce of prevention. And so that's why, Andrea, I love being on summits and talks and interviews like yours, because we
Yeah.
got to reach the parents before the parents have to reach me.
That's my whole thing with the summits because it just reach. That's my purpose is to especially to rid the stigma on mental health.
Yes,
Because yeah,
absolutely.
I have a family that's had that. I have it in cousins, and I actually was diagnosed when I turned 50 with ADHD. I have a son that has ADHD and ODD. He was diagnosed when he was 7. He's now 20, and a lot of anger issues, but we're dealing with that. And I have a daughter with anxiety, so I know. And that's the whole point of this whole thing. Yeah, well, great. So a little bit, I wanted to, how, okay, how to approach out-risk behaviors, like the best way how to approach that and other health issues as a family, and not necessarily just isolating.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people think just that person, just isolating the sufferer, but as a family.
You know, it's interesting, and I'm glad you started with this question because in the treatment world, we call the child that's struggling the identified patient, right? And the family
Interesting.
starts to treat this person like they're the patient of the family. And this makes sense. And it makes sense because you're focusing a lot on your child who's struggling with school, with drugs, with depression, with anxiety, with ADHD, with bipolar, with self harm, with video games and social media. Whatever your child is struggling with, you start to focus on it. Well, your kid's already focused on it. So now you're focused on it too. And your parenting partners become focused on it. And you call family members and you vent and you talk and you try to get support. And they start focusing on it too. And then you call the teachers and the teachers are focused. And pretty soon, everybody is focused on your child's problems, your child's
Mhm.
issues, your child's struggles. So, of course, it's going to get bigger. What we focus on expands. That's
Mhm.
natural physics. It's the same concept as like when you decide you're going to take a look at a red truck because you want to own a red truck, and pretty soon all you see is red trucks everywhere.
Mhm.
That's no different. That's where your focus is going.
Mhm.
Do we think that that's good for the child who's actually having the struggles? We have to remove, and using your words, Andrea, we have to remove the stigma of mental health and look at this child's struggle. Look at this child as what this child's going through and stop making it about the child, because the child's behavior is the family language. And until we learn to speak that language, we are going to see and treat the child like they're the patient, and they're not. Because what happens when they become the patient, suddenly their healing becomes the family's only route to happiness, right? Everybody's miserable. Everybody's walking on eggshells. Everybody's tiptoeing. Everybody's talking in hushed tones. Everybody's being careful about what they say so that the child doesn't have an episode. And do we take the phone away? Do we take it? And if the focus all becomes on a child, remember, we're talking about a child's behavior, then the
Mhm.
family's happiness becomes focused on the child's behavior. And now the child becomes responsible for the family's happiness. And no child has the ability to take that much responsibility. Not willingness. Anybody's willing to be the reason why their family's unhappy. But no child is capable of being responsible for the changes that need to be made in a family's recovery, because this is not about the child acting out. This is about the child speaking the family behavior out loud in a child's language. So, how do we address it? We address it through self-care. Of course, we have to take the child to a therapist. Of course, we have to get we have to find healthy outlets for the child's energy and time and etc. But
Right.
what about ours? What about our self care? What about us actually taking care of ourselves? Are we sleeping? Are we eating healthy food? Are we drinking enough water? Are we moving our body? Are we breathing on purpose? All the things that we're going to expect this child to do in recovery, we as parents have to model. We have to step out. We have to be the one to do it first. Then the second thing we have to do is we have to get our support team in place. We can't do this alone. Do we expect the child to do it alone? If a child is struggling with addiction, do we say, well, you go to your room and when you figure this out, you can come out and join society? No, we get the child connected to a community. How about the adults? Are the adults connected to a community? Do we expect adults to isolate themselves in their house and figure this out and then they can come back and go to the gym? No. So the first thing, the very first thing is self-care. Take care of yourself first. The second thing is take care and nurture your adult relationships. Your parenting partner is struggling too. You are struggling. Your parenting partner is struggling. The two of you need to work together to struggle. You need to contact the teachers and the counselors and create a team for yourself. You need to go to Al Anon. You need to join a parent support group of children of depression, anxiety, whatever. Because I will guarantee you there's a Facebook page that says children with bipolar and their parents. And you can go on that page, just like you can come on my page, Parenting Teens That Struggle. It's a free group. It's on Facebook. And every day I am posting videos, podcasts, and support for families who are struggling. Why?
That's
Because those
awesome.
families need a community. So self-care, adult relationship care. And
That's,
when those two things are in place, then you can focus on the child. Why third? Why is the child put third now?
yeah,
Because how well can you take care of a child if you're not taking care of
taking
yourself?
care of yourself. Like the oxygen mask and the
I
airplane. I
I
always go
heard
to
it's,
that analogy because I think that's the best analogy.
you
Because what
know,
happens if you take that and put it on the child first? What's
right.
going to happen? You're going to deplete air yourself. So how could you take care of?
You know, Andrea, I've heard it two other ways too, and I love both the other ways. Of course, there's the oxygen mask. You know,
Right.
put it on yourself first so that you're breathing well. Then you can help take care of your child. The second way I heard it is I was an EMT. At an EMT school, they said never run to an accident. And I will tell you a quick story. I saw a rollover
Hmm.
accident. I pulled over in my car. I got my EMT kit out of my car. My kids and my wife were still in the car. And I ran towards the rollover accident because I saw smoke and I heard a woman screaming, "Help me." And as I
Right.
ran towards the accident, I hit a barbed wire fence that I wasn't looking at. It dug into my legs, tore my jeans open, and flipped me over onto my back. And it knocked all the wind out of me. Now I couldn't breathe. I had open cuts and I was injured. How well of an EMT, how well of a job am I going to do now? I
Yeah, I
can't
never
breathe
thought of
and
that.
I have cuts and I'm supposed to help someone else and save their life. The third thing, I heard this recently and I love this for parents. How can you give someone a drink from your empty cup? You have to refill your cup because everybody's thirsty, thirsty for love, connection, support, and recovery. But you have to take a drink first. You have to refill your cup so you can share the love you feel for your children.
That's a really good one. I like that. How could you give somebody a drink from an empty cup? I really like that's true because everybody needs that love and to feel
Yes.
connected, and that is awesome. That's really that's great. I love that. Um, what are some like preventative measures that parents can take to decrease the odds of depression in their kids?
Depression, let's talk about a lot of different things because
Mhm.
depression's a hard one.
Okay.
Depression, anxiety, addiction, risky behaviors, okay?
Yeah.
We need to remind parents about depression and anxiety because it's so prevalent right now. So let's take a second
Yes.
to talk about depression and anxiety. Number one, these are chemical issues in the brain.
Mhm.
Depression is a depletion of brain chemistry. It is not an attitude, it is not an emotion. You do not feel depressed. Your
Right.
brain is depressed. What you feel is sad. What you feel is hopelessness. Your brain is depressed. Depression is a description of brain chemistry, not
Hmm.
an emotion. We need to be very clear on that
Interesting.
because we automatically start to make it about emotion and we say, well, we need to go see a therapist. Yes, of course you do. But if you don't change the brain chemistry, you will not heal depression. And so you need to have the
Okay.
brain chemistry looked at. We keep trying to solve physical problems with emotional interventions. Depression is a physical brain chemistry issue. Your body's not producing enough serotonin,
Melatonin.
dopamine,
Right.
endorphins, right? The happy chemicals that your brain,
Right.
something's going on with the brain. So don't make this about somebody feeling depressed. Why won't they just get out of bed, take a shower, go volunteer at the Humane Society? They'll feel better. It's not a feeling. You can have Christmas morning, open
Interesting.
every present, feel like you got everything you want, and be depressed because it's a brain chemistry issue. So that's number one. When we talk about
Okay.
preventative measures, depression is a result of brain chemistry dysfunction, not a bad attitude. That's number one. Anxiety.
Mhm.
Let's talk about anxiety real quick. Anxiety is a trauma response. The amygdala has seen or felt an experience that it has decided is dangerous. And anything that reminds the amygdala of the experience, the amygdala will send an alarm to the body that says, don't do anything because this might happen. And if this happens, you'll be in danger.
Mhm.
The amygdala does not have a timeline. The amygdala is just an alarm clock. It does not care when the dangerous thing happened. Let me give you this example. If, when you were a little kid,
Mhm.
somebody in a red shirt and khaki pants screams at you and they tell you terrible things and they grab you by the shoulders and they shake you and then they slap you so hard you fall to the ground, your amygdala says red shirt, khaki pants equals danger. Now, 15 years later, you go shopping at a certain big box store. You walk in, and every staff member is wearing what? A red
Red
shirt,
shirt,
khaki
khaki
pants.
pants.
Your amygdala does not care that you're now 20 years old. Maybe you've studied martial arts for the last 15 years. Maybe you have been in relationships and you've never been in an abusive one since that moment. Maybe you're studying to be a therapist. Your amygdala does not care about any of that. Your amygdala says, danger. You are in danger. And your body goes into stress response. That is anxiety. It is not a bad attitude or an emotion or worrying too much. And if we do not do the therapeutic process, number one,
Mhm.
of trying to figure out the trigger, and then number two, we have to move the body. That energy is being released. Those are chemicals that the brain is going,
Yeah.
danger, get ready to run, get ready to hide, get ready to freeze, get ready to pass out, get ready to eat, get ready to have sex. Those are the survival: fight, flight,
Mhm.
freeze, faint, fornicate, feed. That's
Mhm.
your survival brain. The amygdala triggers the survival brain, and the rest of the body shuts down. So anxiety must be dealt with physically and emotionally. Depression must be dealt with physically and emotionally.
Fine.
So now let's get to the preventative measures. Now that we understand that depression and anxiety, these are
Mhm.
results of trauma, there are 5 things a family can do to avoid at-risk behavior from a teenager.
Mhm.
5 things.
Okay.
Number one, family dinner. It has been proven by
Mhm.
Stanford, by Harvard,
Mhm.
family dinner. Start eating dinner with your family. No phones,
Right.
no TV. You can listen to music, but sit down at the dinner table and eat your damn food together. Stop disconnecting. We know
Yeah.
the TV tray is the
Mm.
enemy of family.
Yeah.
That's what we need to say. So, family dinner is number one. Number two, preventative measure. You have to know your children's friends' parents.
Mhm. Yeah.
You have to know who your children is hanging out with and who their parents are. You have to get to know them. We build houses very, very close together and we build very, very tall fences. Knock it off. We did not grow up that way. Why are we raising our children that way? We know
Mhm.
this. Andrea, you and I know this. We're
Yeah.
probably the same age.
Exactly.
We know that our parents knew our friends' parents. And if
Mm-hmm.
I did something at
Always.
my friend, if I did
We
something
found
down the
out.
street, our parents found out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's number two. Number
Mm-hmm.
three, something to do between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock. You must have something for your child to do between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Stop
Why?
leaving open time.
Okay.
Empty hands do the devil's work. Idle hands do the devil's work. We know this, so we need
Mm-hmm.
to get our kids involved in after school curriculum
Yeah.
activities. Okay. Number four, we have to truly understand what is going on in the brain. I talked to you about depression. I talked to you about anxiety and what's really taking place. See, we as
Right.
adults, we make too many assumptions about what is going on for our children. Well, they're making bad
Right.
choices. No, they're not. No, people don't make bad choices. We make
Mm-hmm.
choices to fulfill needs.
Right.
There's no such thing as bad choice. There are risky choices, but those risky choices are fulfilling needs. And we can get into that later. But
Mm-hmm.
and I can challenge any parent. Call me up with a bad choice your kid has made, and I will teach you why that is the most brilliant thing they could think of. I will then we'll go into your parenting choices and decide whether they're bad or risky. Because I don't believe in that concept, bad choices. Nobody
That's
makes
right.
bad choices. All right. But we have to understand really what's going on with the brain. We as adults, we need to understand neuroscience. Because the old dare to keep your kids off drugs or just say no, that crap didn't work
Right.
because that wasn't telling the truth. What tells the truth is modern science and the conversations around brain chemistry and what is really going on in the brain. People don't know. People don't understand. If you don't know what anandamide is, then you don't know why marijuana is actually addictive. You can Google a million pages onto how marijuana is not addictive, but there is one very specific reason why it is. And you don't, if you don't know what anandamide is, then you don't know the reason. So you don't know the truth
THC.
about it, right?
Yep.
If you don't know that what the amygdala is, then you don't know why anxiety is not a bad choice. That
Right.
it's actually the smartest thing for the body to do in that moment. If you don't know about dopamine and serotonin and endorphins, then you don't understand depression. We have to know the truth about brain chemistry. All right. The fifth thing is emotional intelligence. We have to start using actual emotion words when we're talking about our feelings. I feel like you're lying to me. You know what? That's actually not a feeling. That's a thought. A
Mm-hmm.
feeling is I feel angry. I think I'm being lied to. But if we're going to skip over what an emotion actually is and then expect people to be emotionally mature, if we're not
Right.
going to teach children how to process emotions, then get mad at them when they don't, if we're going to be adults and don't know how to communicate our own emotional experience, Andrea, I was very excited today. I feel excited. I feel happy. Why? Because I think what you're doing is amazing and I'm really excited to be a part of it. That is the
I apologize.
experience. That is an emotion and a thought put together to have a conversation.
Yep.
So, family dinner, knowing your neighbors,
Mm.
knowing your kids' friends' parents,
Right.
something to do between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock, understanding brain chemistry and understanding emotions. Those are free. Andrea, all five of those things, with maybe the exception of something to do between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock, they're all free. That's how we prevent at risk behavior.
That's awesome. That's really good. I mean, this thing when you were talking about the bad choice or the
Yeah,
risky choice, like there's a difference. Can you
yeah,
just elaborate that a little bit? Just
yeah, I'm happy to. So
I,
here's
because
the
I
bottom
know
line.
everybody's always saying like they do something. Oh, it's a bad choice, bad choice,
Bad
bad choice.
choice.
That's
It's a
all you
bad
always hear.
choice. Right, right. So there's no such thing as a bad choice. I'll start there. Here's why. Everything is an expression of need. There are
Right.
five human needs. 5 very basic human needs in psychology. Okay.
Mhm.
There is safety, power, connection,
Mhm.
freedom, and worth. If any one of those 5 things are in jeopardy, we go into survival mode. Safety, power, connection,
Mhm.
freedom, and worth. Every decision we make is based on meeting one or more of those needs. I said yes to working with you, Andrea, because it fulfills my need of connection. It fulfills my need of power, right? I like being an authority in my field. I
Mhm.
like people coming to me and say, what do I, my kids tried to kill themselves 3 times. What do I do? I like being the person that they resource with. I feel powerful because I am sharing my knowledge. I feel
Right.
connected because I'm communicating with people. I feel freedom because
Right.
this was the thing that locked me down. My suicidality kept me imprisoned as a child. I
Mhm.
feel like I'm a valuable contributing member of society. That's worth. Look, this me being on your show has fulfilled 4 needs. Like it's a so what does marijuana fulfill? Well, what happens when we smoke pot? Well, if you don't understand what anandamide is, I'll give you a hint. It's a chemical in your brain. So if you
Right.
don't understand what anandamide is, it's hard to know, but where do we smoke pot? Do we smoke it in a group of people? Well, there's your connection. Are we
Right.
arguing with our parents and trying to prove them wrong about marijuana? Well, there's your power. Do
Mhm.
we smoke pot because we were abused as a child? And when we smoke pot, we get to forget about the abuse for 2 hours? There's your freedom.
Mhm.
We ask children all the time, why do you smoke cigarettes? I've got 18 kids down the hall from me, 18 teenagers. This is a residential program. They live here for a minimum of 4 months. And we ask these kids, I've been doing this work for 20 years. I get the same answer. Why do you smoke? Why do you guys smoke? Ever since you were little kids,
Makes
you
them
were you
feel
you were in school. You've
worthy.
got posters on the wall that say, don't smoke. It's bad. It's going to kill you.
Mhm.
Why do you start smoking? And the kids say, well, I get to take a break from my life. I get to go outside. I get to hang with friends. All right. Now, there were 3 things right there, right? Take a break. Well, that's freedom,
Right.
right? Uh,
Hang with friends is connecting with your friends.
hanging out. So there we go. Not even talking about the brain chemistry changes that nicotine makes in the body. Well, let's look at what else smoking is. They take a break. Let me say it this way, Andrea, if you came to me and you said, Aaron, I'm so stressed. My clients are struggling so hard and I'm working so much. I'm taking phone calls after hours. And I mean, it's great that I'm helping people, but I am so stressed. I got this one client, the kid's in the hospital. Oh my gosh, I'm just so stressed. And you and I are just venting. And I said, Andrea, here's what you need to do. You need to take a day off and you need to go out for a hike. Just go for a walk. Take the dogs for a walk. And you know what? While you're out there, I just want you to take deep breaths. I told you to take a break. I told you to go outside and I told you
Mhm.
to breathe deeply.
Mhm.
Didn't I just describe smoking? So
Exactly.
even
Exactly.
smoking a cigarette fulfills a lot of needs. Why do you yell at your children? Power, safety, freedom, connection, worth. Why do kids cut? Power, safety, freedom, connection, worth. The moment you start to analyze the why, not just react to the why. Oh, I'm
Right.
so scared that I'm dealing with my fear by yelling at my child and clearing out the house of anything sharp that my child stops cutting instead of taking 5 minutes, 5 minutes and saying, why? Is it safety? It is. Cutting gets rid of all the terrible things you're feeling. Why? Because cutting releases dopamine in the brain. That's why it's addictive. What
Mhm.
about freedom? Well, we know it creates freedom, right? Because you just got freedom from pain and suffering. What
Right.
about connection? What about when mom shows up and says, oh my God, you cut yourself? What about when dad cries and says, please stop hurting yourself? I love you so much. And he puts a band aid over it and he takes you to the hospital. That's connection.
Mm.
What about worth? When you have the doctors and the nurses all gathering around you, sweetheart, are you okay? We're calling in the social worker, all right, honey? We just want you to, that suddenly you feel like you're important, that you're valuable, that you matter. Cutting fulfills needs. Does that mean it's a bad decision? No.
No.
Is it risky? Yes. It's a maladaptive coping strategy. And what addiction is any maladaptive coping strategy that has become a habit. So I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I am
That's,
so tired of this conversation.
I love that though, but I like when, because I get like that when you're passionate about something, that's how it
Oh,
should be. No.
I don't, and these kids here in the facilities, they know. They can come to me and they say, I just want to smoke pot. I just want to do this. I do not care whether marijuana is addictive or not. What marijuana is used for, more often than not, is a maladaptive coping strategy. Oh, I'm stressed, I get high. That's a maladaptive coping strategy.
Right.
In the same way that saying, oh, I'm so stressed, work is so hard, and you binge watch 13 episodes of a Game of Thrones and drink 2 glasses of wine. That is a maladaptive coping strategy. Yelling at your partner instead of connecting because your partner backs down and doesn't engage in conflict because you yelled is both partners employing a maladaptive coping strategy. And any strategy that makes you feel better on the short term that becomes a habit is addiction.
That's
So that's why I say there's no bad choices. Smoking
no.
pot is not a bad choice. It makes sense. Suicide can make sense. Is it risky? Yeah. One of the most risky things you can do. One of the most terrifying, frightening, stressful things to
Right.
watch your child go through. Is it a bad choice? Look at all the needs it's fulfilling. It's a very, very risky way to get needs met.
That really puts a big, I would never think, but it really makes sense. You know, it's not the choice being bad, it's risky, you know? That's really, I like that. I like that. What are, I want to ask this anyway, 4 strategies that reduce at-risk behavior in children and improves family dynamics?
Those were the strategies I gave you before. The family
That would be the
dinner, the
same ones.
yes,
That would be that. Okay, no problem. All right, cool,
absolutely.
awesome. Well, okay, we're coming to the end. Basically, what would you want, like, for the viewers to get from this today?
What I want viewers to get with this today is the importance of you regulating your nervous system and taking a minute and step out of your reaction to the experience your child is going through
Mhm.
and become analytical. Don't, it's easy to be angry, it's easy to be stressed, it's easy to be nervous and scared, and it's easy to yell, and it's easy to punish. What's hard is to step back from it and say, why? Why is this happening? Where did this come from? Where's the family language? Where is it? Why is this? If this child is behaving this way, something in the family dynamic is creating this. And it may not be you. Do you know what? The science of epigenetics is saying that what your child is going through is connected to 12 generations of your family. 12. Do you know that that is over 2,500 great sets of grandparents? That's how deeply genetics works. Gene expression of trauma can vibrate through generations. So this is not about tell me about your mother. This is not about a blame game. This is not about you as a parent realizing that you've done something wrong. This is about you realizing as a parent, you're going through it too. Your child is not addicted. There's
Mhm.
addiction in the family. Your child is not depressed. Depression is affecting your child, and depression is a family issue.
Mhm.
So we have to treat the family. The whole family goes into recovery. When you sit back and go, oh my gosh, the way my child is acting is fulfilling needs. And my fear, and when I yell because I'm afraid, that fulfills needs. These are all risky choices. I need to make new choices, which means suddenly you're practicing self care. I need to sleep. I need to eat healthy food. I need to drink more water. I need to move my body. I need to breathe on purpose, even if it's for 5 minutes. Folks, I had 2 runaways the other day. And the next day, they came back. We had the police brought them back. We brought them back into the
Really?
facility, and you could feel the tension. And I was standing in the kitchen of the facility and I said, I'm really tense, and that's not helping the kids. I cannot be a good facility owner if I'm scared. So I took
Exactly.
time in the kitchen and I just started breathing. And I just said, it's going to be okay. I'll be okay. And then I went to my team members and I said, how are you doing? Do you need a break? How are you doing? Well, I'm nervous about this. Let's discuss it. And I took care of my adult relationships. And
Hmm.
then I was ready to take care of kids.
That's it. Yeah.
Family recovery, team recovery, child recovery.
Hmm.
Take care of yourselves first, your adult relationships second, your children third.
Yeah. That's definitely the order. Yeah. You have to be numero uno.
Uno.
Because you can't do the rest if you're not okay.
I like it. You can't do the
Uh,
rest until you take care of the best.
yeah, yeah, I like that. I gotta steal that from you. I like that. That is really good. Awesome. Thank you. Now I know you. What's the best way to get to you? Like for people to reach you would be like your email. Is that the best way?
Here's what I want you to do. If a parent needs me, I want you to go to Facebook and go to Parenting Teens That Struggle. Parenting Teens That
Teens that
Struggle.
struggle.
It's free there. You can also go to parentingteens.struggle.com.
Uh huh.
And you can also go to firemountainprograms.com.
.com. Okay.
That's the treatment center. My email address is aaron@firemountainprograms.com. You can always write me directly. I will always answer. And my free gift is the parenting
Yep.
contract. That is how you get the whole family into the healing process. You go
Really.
to parentingteens.com. I'm sorry. You go to firemountainprograms.com/coaching and
Hmm.
download the free PDF that is a workbook on how to create a family behavior contract.
That's amazing. Oh my God, so many parents they need that. They really do. They just I mean, that's awesome. Great. Thank you.
It is my
This has
pleasure, Andrea.
been
Thank you.
great. This has been so good. This has been really good. Thank you. Thank you.